Okay, so we will continue with the lecture of the theories of motivations. Yesterday we did Maslow's theory of hierarchy, and today we are going to do theory of motivation, X and Y theory. Okay. A request to all of you: you should all join in time, before time. When your class starts at 10, you should be present here in the class at 10, not beyond that. Okay. Now continuing the yesterday's lecture, the theory of X and Y. This explains that this theory, X and Y, explains that what happens, or the difference between if a person is the organization and if a person is unwilling to work for the organization. Okay, Douglas McGorry in 1906 to 1964 introduced this theory of X and Y about the employees, which comprises the negative attitude, the X comprising of negative attitude and the Y comprising of positive attitude. Okay, now this is also called approach to motivations. This is one of the approaches to motivations. The X states that the people dislikes working and prefer to receive directives. Okay, suppose the X group of people are people who do not like working at all, and they prefer somebody give them directives. All right, there's somebody tells them, okay, you should do this, you should do that, get me this file, get me that file. So these are those group of people who will not do anything until unless they are told to do so. Okay, and these people are forced to work. They will be forced that you should be, you have to be in the office till this time to this time. You cannot leave the office beyond that. There will be people who will not willing to come to the office if they feel like, but there are people who are, more than willing to work for the institution that they are associated with. Now the X people prefers and avoids responsibilities and have a very low ambitions of growing. All right, so low ambitions, low, what do you call, ambition in context of their career. These people have, they always run away from the responsibility. They don't like working. They will all be there will be people who will always dictate them to work, or to do what next, and they will be forced to do the responsibility that they are supposed to take up all by themselves. Right now, the next group of people, that is the Y people. These are the group of people who prefers to work, who are workaholics, suppose you say, and who will achieve the objective that are assigned to them or interested. Suppose if I say, Kajal, you are responsible for seeing that everybody's assignments is submitted by particular date. All right, so now without telling her again and again for every assignments, she does her work properly. She checks back with her classmates whether they have completed the assignments and uploaded it on the LMS on time or not. All right, so and there will be another people like Neeraj. So supposingly, until unless I don't tell Neeraj, come on, upload your assignment, Neeraj will not do his
Okay, ma'am.
assignment. ठीक है. So there are these type of people, X and Y type of people, where one person will prefer to work and the other person will not prefer to work. All right, now they will accept and seek any type of responsibility that they are given to, or they believe that they have the ability to do, and have the intellectual ability that can be used to achieve organizational objectives. All right, now according to the Y people, the Y group of people, they will be satisfied with the job. They have a higher job satisfaction. Okay, The work environment will, uh, it can be because of the suitable work environment, or they make the working environment suitable for themselves, and they could implement any responsibility well in time. All right. Although the most of the companies use and apply why in the management, that is they always think that the management people will always think that their employees are more of a Y group of people, uh, X group of people, where they are not willing to do, and and they will implement that way. They oversee that all the employees are working in time and working for so many hours. They will always see that. But in general, but it is not that. There are some people who are positive in nature and likes to work and like their work environment, and work for the common goal of development of their organization and institution they are associated with. All right. Right. Now there is another theory that I have told you, that is Maslow's need based theories. That what is Maslow's approach of motivation? Yesterday I have told you Maslow's motivation theory. Can anybody give me the brief about it, Maslow, or should I come again? Nobody knows? Okay. I will again revise the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. All right. So now, this Maslow's hierarchy of needs explains that a person to receive the highest epitome of uh, achievement or self actualization, one must first of all have and satisfy all the basic psychological needs. All right, you should be mentally prepared for it. You should be mentally sound for the job to be done, and you should know mentally that what plannings and requirements it is there. Then you need to have a safety, if a need for safety. Then you need to have a job safety, job security, and appreciation in the work area. All right. So after psychological needs are completed, then you will aspire for safety. Whether you are, whenever you are associated with an organization, you just see whether that organization is providing you that safety net. If you are giving your full on effort, that organization is giving you that safety feeling or safety net or not. Whether you are whether your term of working is permanent, or it is a partial term of working, even though there will be a sense of security that suppose your boss will not fire you from the job. That is a sense of security. So once you attain the sense of security and safety, that also includes financial security and job security. All right. Then you aspire for social well-being or social needs. Like you will always aspire that you look for somebody in the organization who is your colleague, as well as can be develop a good repo and good relationship with your colleague. So a friendly relationship you will aspire. You will also aspire that your organization overseeing your personal life and your social domain is healthy or not. Okay. Whether you are associated with healthy people or not. So it is a to and fro relationship with the organization. So once your social needs and aspirations are completed, you will goal, or you will aim for the esteems, like your pride, your ego. You should be proud of what you're doing. You should be have an attitude, positive attitude, or positive acceptance of the whatever job is entrusted to you. So that develops your self esteem, that you have a sense of authority and sense of you know basically sense of authority and belongingness to the organization. Then once all these four needs are satisfied, you aspire to go achieve the self actualization stage. In self actualization stage, what happens is a person attains the uh, potential and capacity to understand and oversee all the working functionary of the organization, and you actually realize that I am capable of overcoming all the hurdles, all the problems of the for being associated with this organization. So you will be knowing everything about the organization if you reach, or if all your four below needs are satisfied. All right. Now, there is another model, or there is another theory, that's two-factor model. So, a two-factor model was given by Ryu and Frederick Herzberg. Bernard has given this model, and in this model, they have seen that there are few factors that are responsible for satisfaction and of the job. What is that? That is motivational factor and hygiene factor. Motivation factor is like you want to achieve something, you recognize your work area, you know what type of work you are going to do. Okay, so in motivation factor, you can go into two directions, that is the dissatisfaction and satisfaction direction. So these are the another two factors, that is either from achievement, whatever you have done with your work, whatever type of work you are associated and you recognize with, whether you are satisfied with the achievement or you are unsatisfied with the achievement. Okay. Now, there are people who will be dissatisfied with whatever they have done. There are people who will not recognize or reconnect with the work that they are doing, and recognition of the work is not given. So that gives a sense of complete dissatisfactory to the individual or the employee. And how can you reach the satisfactory level? You will reach the satisfactory level whatever achievement you are, whatever work you have done, and you are proud of that achievement. You recognize your work, that whatever work you are doing is important, and you also know that this type of work is important, and which place do it lie. Okay. Then there is another thing that leads to you for being satisfied and dissatisfied, is that hygiene factor, uh, or you can say the company's policy factor, salary, working environment. So company policy may be very stringent or very strict, that you may not go out, you do not have flexibility of changing certain work area or certain work approach. That will become a rigid way of working, and will push a person or an individual towards dissatisfactory or not satisfied to associating oneself with that organization. Then the salary, suppose you work very hard day and night, and your salary constitute is much less than what you're supposed to get. So that also will drive you towards unsatisfactory level. All right. Then you have working environment. Suppose you have a very negative working environment, your colleagues are not with you, they are suppose they are always competing with you, they are always mean with you, and your boss is also not good with you or mean with you. So this entire thing will what will give, it will give a sense of unhealthy environment. Suppose there is a work environment politics, in a work environment politics, where somebody is complaining about somebody to get a better place in the eye of their seniors. So this work environment politics will push the person towards an unsatisfied level. Similarly, on the opposite hand, what you see, that if the company policies are flexible, are very cordial with the with the objective of the organization's goal, and as well as with the employees, it will have a very healthy policy for the development, and the people will be more satisfied and will work with more effort. Similarly, the salaries, if you get a very handsome salary, you will have more zeal to work for the organization. Then the work environment, if there's no work, politics in the work environment, if you have a very cordial and healthy work environment, the organization will develop. Like, for example, if I say about Google, I don't know, I have not seen it very clearly, but my one of my friend is working with Google. She's Google India head. Now, what happens is that mm, what she implies with the employees of Indian branch is that she sees that the employees are comfortable, they're basically completed, they have the liberty and flexibility of working in as per their requirements, until unless it is the work or the job done is in time. All right, then the salary, they are paid in handsome salaries, and the work environment is a very laid back work environment, so that they can give a more productive output. Okay, so all these companies, if you go and see, like Infosys, Google, if you go in those organization and see, their work environment is very healthy. They have big recreational rooms, they have nap rooms. Suppose somebody is very tired of working, they have nap rooms. They go, the employees go there, they take a nap, and again they come back to their work and work for the organization. So see, to develop a motivation into a person, the organization also has to give some flexibility, some comfort to the employees, to give positive positive attitudes and positive belongingness to the organization. Now there is let me change the slide. So this is so far X and Y theory and hierarchy theory that I have repeated. I have completed this theory. Maturity theory has worked. Two-factor theory have done. All right. Now the process of these theories are what equity-based theory, competency-based theory, goal-setting theories, and Portal Roy-based theories and models. Now, equity theory. John C.C. Adams' equity theory help explain why pay and condition alone do not determine the motivation. So what he has said, that not only pay and conditions of the environmental factor is not the only determination that develops motivation in the employees, by explaining the inputs and outputs. Okay, so the time, effort, loyalty, hard work, these are the things that you give in to the organization, and the output will be that you have a job security, your sense of authority and esteem is boosted, and the salary is handsome, and then apart from that, there are benefits of what do you call some job benefits, like maybe you will be given some perks by the organization. That is the output. So the input of your effort, hard work, loyalty, commitment to, and determination and enthusiasm of doing any work. On the other hand, the output will be the organization will give you in salary, will give you a sense of job security, will give you a sense of authority and belongingness to the organization. Now, expectancy theory. In this expectancy theory is that it postulated by the victim rooms, that is it presents a valid, compensative, and useful approach to management. It is a choice model. Basically, it is a whether you can choose to do it or not. All right. Then it builds around the three concepts. What are the three concepts? It is built around valency, that is the validity of it, the expectancy, and the instrumentality. All right. Okay. Now the valency is that how valid is your effort and how valid is the output will be. That is a valency concept. Then the second is expectancy. What do you expect the outcome should come, and the result of this, the effort, time and effort that you have given, and the importance of the work will will be instrumental in motivating you to work furthermore, or feel the belongingness with the organization. Now, the goal setting theories. What are the goal setting theories? Edwin Locke has given this theory. According to him, the motivation is resulted from rational and in, mm, intentional behavior. Like rational means reasoning, the ability of reasoning, and the intentional, what you intend to achieve. Okay, it suggests that the managers and the subordinates should establish a singular goal on a regular basis. They must have a setting of a goal that they should achieve. So it can be, quarterly, it can be an half yearly, or it can be annual. So there is an annual goal, there is a long term goal, there is a short term goal, and based on these goals, how the managers and subordinates establish and work to achieve it has to be there. Now, the goal should be moderately difficult and specific. It should be specific, and it should not be very difficult to be attained. All right. Now, the next thing is that Porter and Lawyer model. Now, Porter and Lawyer model promotes that this cause that there is a performance can cause a satisfaction. So, whatever performance you are doing, it will give you to lead to a satisfactory or an unsatisfactory level. Now, it explores the relationship between motivation and satisfaction and performance. So, Porter and Lawyer model has seen that uh, what is the relationship between how motivated you are and how because of the motivation, because as I've told you, motivation is a tool, a behavior that to achieve a goal. So with the motivation, how you are performing, and with your performance, how these performance are affecting your self actualization or satisfactory with the job, as satisfaction of the completion of the objectives. Now, performance is an organization and function, three important factors, that is desire to perform, whether you want to work for it or not. Then motivation alone will not lead to performance. Only if you are motivated and if you are not desire to achieve it, it will not move forward. So you have to have a desire to perform. And motivation alone will not lead to performance, and person must have requisite skill set and knowledge to do a job. So you should pre-hand know a work. Suppose if I ask Rishabh or Kajal to perform an operation on a patient, will you able to do it? No, because you do not have the skill set and knowledge about any human anatomy, let alone making any operations. So you do not even know what are the symptoms or what are the disease. So you will not even able to treat the person, let alone doing an operation. So you need to have a proper skill set and knowledge to do a particular job. Similarly, by the end of this course of geoinformatics, when you finish off, you will have a skill set and knowledge about how satellite images are interpreted, how photogrammetry are interpreted, and how it can be implemented at various, developmental activities, whether it is smart city planning, or it is disaster management, uh, or you want to just have an analysis on understanding about the various phenomena that is happening. So there are endless things that will lead to your job completion. All right, the performance lead to reward. Now, when you complete your performance, it will lead to a reward, or a sense of achievement, or sense of gratification, basically. Now, a reinforcement theory, there is a theory of reinforcement. So, reinforcement theory of motivation was proposed by B.F. Skinner and his associates. Now, Skinner, what has Skinner said? Skinner states that the individual behavior is a function of its consequences. So, whatever an individual behave, it is because of a consequence, the consequence that is going to you are going to face. So what, suppose if you are driven to do the work, you are happy to face that consequences. So you will be driven, you will be motivated to do that work. And suppose if you do a work which has a very grave consequences, so you will be demotivated in doing that work. All right. The theory focus on totally on what happens when an individual takes some action of taking or doing a work. The manager used the following methods for controlling the behavior of the employees: the positive reinforcement and the negative reinforcement. That is, positive reinforcement means that manager will I will appreciate your effort in working, will appreciate whatever you are doing. That the appreciation method is reinforcement. Yes, yes, you, if you keep on doing this good job, you will be rewarded. So this is a positive reinforcement that you're giving to your employees to work harder, do better for the objective to be attained. Then the negative reinforcement. Supposingly, if you are not wearing proper uniform or proper dress, or you're not following the protocol of the office, you will be negatively reinforced. Like you will, your there will be some amount of money which will be deducted from your salary. Or suppose you have a habit of chewing tobacco in the office, so there are on the walls of the office it is written that you are not supposed to spit. Whosoever spits will have to pay this amount, right? That is a negative reinforcement. You will have to pay for if you are doing anything bad or anything which is not accepted by formal institution. Then punishments are again a negative reinforcement approach. In this, you are punished to do something which is not expected or accepted by the institution. All right, now the extinction part. The extinction part comes with where you have completed the job, whether with the positive reinforcement or with the negative reinforcement. Okay, now where all you can apply the motivation into the employees involvement program. Motivation can be implemented at the time where employees involvement programs are there. Like there will be some organization will organize there will be a day where faculty meetings are there, faculty development programs are there. So that our institution too, where they want to involve other faculty into the program and make them associate with one another and work in hand. So in participating in these programs, the process that uses the entire capacity of the employees and is designed to encourage and increase the commitment to the organization will bring the success. Now, there is another thing, participative management. So you want your management to suppose management your organization management has given a laid down a goal. So there can be then they said ki, okay, who will participate in community development, who will participate in social assistance, who will participate in legal assistance. So there will be people with all these specific set for developing these management practices or want to participate in it. So like Kajal, you have participated in Rangoli competition. It was organized by the institution, right? So it is a participation of you that has contributed, that you have participated in Rangoli competition, although it was conducted by another department. All right, but the management had made it open for the all, that all can participate in it, right? So a process in which subordinate shares a significant degree of decision making power with their immediate superior. So they have a similar degree of decision making power. Like we vote, suppose हमने कोई decision लेना है and the management says, what do you have, what is your idea about achieving these things? So the board members, the committee members will participate actively in the decision making activities. Now, representative participation is that they represent some group. Like suppose when we have a webinar, so I representing my center, I will introduce the opening of the webinar, and the chief and the guest, right? So they are what? So this is a representation. So whenever if I go to some other institution, I will be representing my institution. So this is a representative participation. Similarly, all of you can also do that whenever when the colleges open in good times. You can have inter-college competition. In inter-college competitions, what you do, you represent your college to another. All right. Similarly, inter-university representation will be like you will represent your university to with another university. And then if you succeed in it, you will go into state level. From the state level, you will represent your state. From the state, then if you win there, then from the representation of your state, you will go to representation of your nation. So that is the representative participation. Then the work council. Work council groups of or nominated are elected employees who must be counseled when managers and making decisions are involved in the personal activities. The board of representatives, like there are like when I was teaching you organizational design, so I've told you there are various departments. So all these heads of the departments are the representative of their boards. Okay. The board of representatives are also there. The alternative work arrangements. Alternative work arrangements means the flexible time, the job sharing activity, the communication between the employees and the employer, and among the colleagues. Communication is also very important, which I'm going to take in tomorrow's lecture. Okay. Now you have what do you call your quiz there on LMS. You go and attempt your quiz on the LMS. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. So attempt your quiz. Okay. And from tomorrow onwards, I keep on telling you, I want all of you to come in the class in time. I cannot keep adding you